We met on Hinge.
What? Yo,
Yeah.
Hinge, send us a check. This is number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, well, we met on Hinge. You know,
the app that's meant to be deleted.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Listen, no free advertisement, no free marketing. I might have to cut this if they don't send me a check.
We met on Hinge too.
Really?
Look at that.
Awesome.
Look at that. Look at the odds. So we met on Hinge. We set up a date to go actually to Harlem Nights, to comedy night. That's my icebreaker during the time, because if the date didn't work.
Tragedy. This the stuff of fairy tales and majesty, magically. Like I pulled you out of hat, pull you out of bag from out of mag if you want that. Pull up in the slab and pull off with you in my lap. Top down.
Welcome to Travel Tuesday Happy Hour, where we interview dope people doing dope things from around the world. And we are in season 3, Couples Goals, aka Black Love. We got the amazing co-host for this season.
Yeah.
Can you tell them who you are?
I'm Jackie. I'm his fiance.
My love. And we have an amazing dynamic duo today. Can you guys tell us who you are and where you're from?
Ladies always first.
I am Monica. I am Rodney's fiance. I am a photographer. Been a photographer for over a decade now. As of recently, I've been shooting cute little newborns. But I do a little bit of everything, photography-wise. The only thing I don't dibble and dabble in is music industry or fashion. Not interested. I'm a model turned photographer, so I had my time in that world.
Mm-hmm.
I am. You can find me on Instagram. My Instagram is MonicaVPhoto_.
Cool. And then where are you from?
I grew up in the Bronx in Riverdale.
Mm-hmm.
I am of African American and Dominican descent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sir, can you tell us who you are and where you're from?
I am Rodney Hurricane Carter. I'm born and raised in New York City, but half and half Harlem, half and half Queens. All right. I'm half man, half amazing, like I like to say. Yeah. Modern day superhero / ninja. But Hurricane Fitness is my business. I run a personal training studio in Harlem, and we change lives one rep at a time. We work with people anywhere from 8 to 80, blind, crippled, and crazy. We are definitely one of the go-to spots in Harlem. My background is in my background is actually in boxing. I started off as a boxer. Been boxing over 25 years on and off. Started personal training, got into personal training from boxing, personal training for at least over 15 years now. Started my business in the last 5 years, and we've been off and running ever since.
Okay. So how did y'all meet? Queens, Harlem dude meets, crazy Bronx, but we're not gonna say that because she went.
She's from Riverdale. Like that's
a little different.
It's nicer side of the Bronx. I don't even think that should be considered the Bronx.
That's almost not the
its own capsule.
Suburbs of the Bronx.
For those of you who don't know, we're territorial about where we're from in New York City.
Boroughs get crazy.
It gets crazy.
Boroughs get crazy.
So we met online, actually. We met on Hinge.
What?
Yeah.
Hinge, send us a check. This is number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, well, we met on Hinge.
The app that's meant to be deleted.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Listen, no free advertisement, no free marketing. I might have to cut this if they don't send me a check.
We met on Hinge too.
Really?
Look at that.
Awesome.
Look at that. Look at the odds. So we met on Hinge. We set up a date to go actually to Harlem Nights, for comedy night. That's my icebreaker during the time. Because if the date didn't work out, at least I wanted to get some laughs out of it, And, from that point, I couldn't get rid of her. She never left my side. No, to be honest, I
don't tell it
to
that
be,
way.
to be
Man
honest,
after my own heart. I'm telling you. Go ahead.
I don't tell it that way.
Give it you are.
Memorable ever since.
Oh man. So all right. So y'all are gonna hear our story at some point, but what did you initiate the conversation off of, Rodney? Like did you comment on a picture a quote, or?
So to be honest, she commented on
It was me.
my page. Yeah, she took.
She saw the muscles and she was like, "Yeah."
It was me.
I appreciate that. You know,
And it wasn't even a picture. I think she was.
It was your pet peeve.
Yeah, my
It was your
biggest
pet peeve. Yeah.
No, was it a pet peeve? No, it was a fetish.
No.
It was a weird fetish that I like. It wasn't a pet peeve.
Oh man.
So one of my weird.
Don't look up his Hinge profile. He's not on
It's
there
already
anymore.
deleted.
It's gone. It's gone.
Wait, babe, ours might be the same as theirs. What was the question that
Hers was a guilty pleasure.
My guilty pleasure. That's what he commented on.
We smart. We on the same page.
You and Monica. Monica's the one that commented.
like all the thirsty girls are gonna comment on the
his
picture,
Yeah,
on the boxing. I'm gonna take it seriously. Exactly. Look, we right here.
It worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
It did.
Yeah. So and what was the question? It was something about. I think I like girls with like nice nails, they nails done or something like that. You know, I'll be checking out people's nails, fingernails, toenails. You know, I'm like stuck with that boomerang scene. You know, when Eddie pull the sheets back. She got ugly feet. I cannot do it, so I had to make sure. You got some nice toes, some nice hands. You're good to go.
You ain't want her messing up your sheets. I got you, bro. It's scary sometimes. Okay. And so from there, you know, because y'all met prior to the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you did the comedy thing, and did it work out? Like clearly it worked out, but like what was that night like?
Well, I was late 45 minutes.
Oh wow.
You waited.
So we switching roles right now. So y'all two on the same time lane. You know, you give them an hour early just so you can get there on time.
Yeah.
We talking about them.
Listen, my man, you know where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, we vibing over here. But that's why I chose the comedy spot. So it didn't matter if she was late or not. It ain't even matter if she didn't show. I'm in a spot where I'm gonna have a good time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's a smart man, because you know what he's saying is he was hoping that you did show up, but in case you didn't, you gave him a good time by himself.
Right.
Exactly.
It's a gift either way. You know what I mean?
It's a win-win.
And so from there, you guys, like you said, inseparable, right? And so from there, I want to kind of ask you guys, what inspired you both to travel, like individually?
Before you met each other. Like what inspires you to travel?
You want to go first?
What inspires me to travel? All right.
Well, what got you into traveling? Like your first time leaving Queens or leaving Harlem was triggered by what? And then did that inspire to keep traveling?
I think it was triggered really by my so when I was maybe 12 years old, my uncle, he was in the army and he traveled the world a lot. And he invited me to come live with him in Japan, him and my cousin, the same age. And for some reason, my dad didn't want me to go. So he kind of cock-blocked that whole situation, which I thought would have been a dope situation. Like to this day, I'd be like, yo, Pops, why you do that? He still don't want to.
So stuck on that.
Yeah.
Listen, at that age, Japan, you got
like quarterly.
You got the karate flicks on the channel, on the late night channel.
I was nice, and Bruce Lee was the man back then.
Listen, you talking about, was it early 80s, late 70s, right?
It was late 80s, early 90s, somewhere around there, probably.
Right, yeah, that's when we was like, heavy into the kung fu movies, the martial arts, the ninja. You know what I'm saying?
The Ninja Turtles was big around then.
I'm telling you, man.
They were in New York.
Listen.
So look, my cousin went with his father, you know, of course, and he came back speaking Japanese and all of that. You know, like I was jealous. I'm like, yo, I wish I would have for all this time. I wish I would have got to go. So that part of that sparked my interest in just traveling, but my family couldn't really afford to take us traveling. It was 6 of us, you know, like the most traveling we did was like Hershey Park, you know, Virginia. We went to, you know, the theme parks and whatnot. Never really, anywhere we can drive, you know, between 6 to 8 hours.
For some people that's travel. You got to realize there's people in your hood that probably, not today, hopefully, that haven't seen outside of Harlem.
Yeah.
Right? You got people that haven't, look, I got family that's afraid to come across the bridge to Jersey.
Right.
So, you know, it's
relative.
It's very relative to what travel is for people.
Yeah. So that's what sparked my interest. My first actual trip, my college girlfriend took me to Barbados. And it was my first trip. I went out the country. Was it really? Yeah, it was my first trip out the country. And I had a horrible time. I hated it.
Wow.
It was so bad.
Of all countries, Barbados?
Why?
Yeah. So I wanted to go to Barbados because I had family from Barbados, but I didn't know. So I wasn't going around saying like, you know, like asking for the Bullen family, right? And they saying you can't say that because in Barbados, that means like Batiman. It's like gay. You can't go around saying Bullen because they think you're gay, for one. But the reason why the trip was so horrible was because, I don't know, I guess because she took me, she got kind of like controlling, possessive, or whatever the case may be, and just wanted to do everything her way. And I'm like, I'm not cool with this, y'all. I'll see you later. So I went, you know, scouring Barbados for weed. Found some weed to cope for the rest of the few days that I was there.
Hey, look, I mean, when in Barbados, right?
When in Barbados.
Monica, how about you? What was your first trip? And then what gives you that travel bug? Like, I gotta go, I gotta get out of here.
So I don't remember my first trip because I was a baby. Okay. But what inspired me to travel was definitely my maternal grandparents. They were from the Dominican Republic, came here, created a really great life for themselves and their family. And one of the things that my grandfather would always talk about is that he would want to put aside a certain amount of money for them to travel every single year. And he talked about it, he boasted about it because, you know, he's like this poor little boy from the Dominican Republic who used to sell platanos barefoot in the street. And so he would talk about it with so much pride. And my grandmother started a plate collection. So every country that they went to, or every trip that they went on, they did a lot of international travel. She would get a plate. And in their home that I remember going to as a child, they had like a 2-story foyer, and all the plates were displayed on the wall. Oh. And my sister and I used to sit on the stairs, and we would like, you know, pretend like, oh, where are you going this time? And we would look at the plates and we'd be like, okay, we're going to go to Kenya. We're going to go to Morocco. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. And so as a child, I always had this desire to travel. And that kind of sparked it in me to always want to try to do something at some point during the year. Hopefully, I would always say I want to travel quarterly. So that definitely inspired me. And I still kind of take that with me like every day. My grandparents are no longer alive. So it definitely means a lot every trip that I take, especially the international travel for me.
So what was the first travel that you can remember that you scheduled or somebody scheduled for you to go? That was on that bucket list of a 2-story
foyer with all the plates.
I want to say, I mean, I traveled before that, but the first trip that was really meant a lot to me, I went to Vietnam. And my dad scheduled that for all of us. He put that together. He's a Vietnam vet. So on the 40th anniversary, I think it was, of him going to Vietnam or coming back, I don't remember which one it was. He wanted to go. He was looking for a woman and her mom that kind of made his time in Vietnam better.
Nice.
They used to work on the base where he was stationed. And so it became this whole quest to find Wei and her mother.
Yeah.
And it was pretty amazing. Leading up to the trip, they still hadn't found them. And I think it was the day that we were departing for Vietnam, we got news from the travel agent who was also working to kind of help find them. That they got some information about their whereabouts, at least Wei's whereabouts. Her mom was deceased. And that was, I think that kind of opened my eyes even more so to traveling and wanting to do it so much more. I was in my early 20s at the time. But it was an amazing trip. It was so much fun. It was such a new experience, being halfway on the other side of the world. Which was kind of now I get why Mama and Papa were so into traveling. I got to do this.
Nice. So Rodney, did both of y'all know each other had this traveling bug, or was it something y'all over time y'all figured it out?
Well, I knew that she traveled quite a bit, but I think it was more a gradual over time that we like to travel a lot. And we foresee travel a lot in our future.
Oh, nice.
What was your first trip together?
Was it Montreal?
Montreal, I think.
They've been so many places they
I
can't.
know, they can't
stop
even remember.
counting. She got a
Montreal,
2-story. She got a 2-story 4-year of her own
I
right
know.
now. You know what I mean?
Not yet, nowhere near.
She got a double decker.
So Montreal was the first. So who planned it? Who decided where y'all were going and got all the stuff together? He's pointing at you.
I have nothing to do with Montreal.
So I decided Montreal. I don't remember. I don't remember. This was
I had nothing to do with Montreal.
This was, I think it was something 3 months after we met each other. So I don't really remember. That seems like moons ago. I don't remember who decided Montreal, but I do know, and this is kind of something that will always happen when we travel. I am huge on accommodations.
Yeah.
I have to be comfortable. So I'm kind of the person that, will play travel agent when it comes to accommodations for sure. And I remember I was the one who booked our hotel.
She's from Riverdale. What you expect? I'm from the hood. Yeah, I slept in Jackson. Well, yeah, I think that was the first trip.
Depending on the trip. If it's a trip where we're roughing it, then that's a totally different situation. But I like to be in charge of accommodations for sure. That was the trip that we actually drove. We drove to Montreal. That was a first for me. No, as a child, I drove to Canada, but as an adult, that was the first time that I experienced driving to another.
That's not a bad trip from New York to Montreal. It's about 5 hours, give or take a few.
Yeah.
I stopped in Boston and chill. But other than that, it's pretty quick.
Oh, it's only 5 hours
to
drive?
Yeah, it's only 5. That's an easy trip.
It was a quick straight shot up.
Toronto.
Not very involved.
I'm gonna still want her question is what did you guys learn about each other traveling together?
I knew you liked that question.
That we can do it more often.
No, that's not. No. What have you learned about each other traveling?
What have I learned about each other? Whose is that? All right, 1 second. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's not me, though. That's not me, by the way.
That's so fine. We can edit it.
Good stop.
Yeah.
Okay. What have we learned about each other?
What did we learn about each other?
Through traveling, what have you learned about?
We learned that she likes nice accommodations.
Mm-hmm.
We learned that. What else have I learned about you in the traveling?
Well, you can't be asking her.
I'm saying it to myself. I'm asking myself.
Oh, you're just looking at her. You're not looking for hints or clues.
My eyes will get the answer.
So while Rodney's still figuring it out, what did you learn about Rodney?
I'm kind of still figuring it out also. That's a really, really good question.
That's a great question.
I think it's cemented that he is quite the adventurous. Where I knew that, it's like I see it in action. When we travel, he's definitely the one that will be like, yeah, come on, let's do it. You know, but I don't know if it goes much deeper than that with me just like right now thinking about it. I don't know if I can think of anything else.
No, that's heavily like, well, you're down for some of my craziness.
So tell us some of your crazy. Are you like zip lining, walking across a bridge that's like 2 miles in the air, parachuting? What are we talking about?
So the last trip I went on, was it parasailing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went parasailing. Been skydiving. Definitely do zip lining. Yeah, like I want to try it all, everything, you know, under the sun, and see what I like.
Bungee jumping.
Except for bungee jumping. You know that episode on Martin with Hillary husband? It scarred me for life. I will not bungee jump. But anything else, I'm down to do. I try to get motorcycles every time, or scooters every time we go out the country, or some place that has them.
Yeah.
You're not for the scooters?
She's shaking her head no.
I was for the scooters, not totally for them, but I was willing to try the scooters. I'm taking a break from the scooters right now. That's
Sounds like there was
was there an incident?
We don't want
a scooter incident?
We were in Mexico. Our first day, so the first morning we woke up, had breakfast. It was a lovely day in Tulum. And afterwards we were gonna go see the Tulum ruins. So we get on the scooter and I'm like, babe, not really like, you know, totally comfortable. Take it easy. I know you're the daredevil, you know.
Were y'all on one scooter?
One scooter. Oh. Yeah, one scooter. Well,
tiny.
We go down the beach and we find out that Tulum ruins are closed. So we start to head back. I don't know what it was that we saw that we decided to.
I think it was massages or something like that.
It was something. And so, not very dramatic, this incident, but it leads to drama. Rodney turns in the sand. And so the sand was a little slippery. And we were going like 2 miles an hour.
Not adventurous at all.
Not adventurous. Just being on the scooter, that was the adventure. We slipped on the sand, we fell over, and I got a nice 3rd-degree burn on my leg, about 7 inches.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I'm literally scarred for life.
Not figuratively.
See, scooters are supposed to be one person per device.
We've done multiple on a scooter, 2 of us on a scooter.
Well, are you talking about like the moped scooters or like? Okay, mopeds.
Yeah.
Okay, mopeds is different.
There's families of 4 on those scooters. Like at least 2 of us around.
Okay, so maybe that wasn't the favorite, but what was your favorite trip together?
What was our favorite trip together?
Mm-hmm. Out of all the trips you taken, what was your favorite?
I think we had a good time on that trip too.
She's like, trip over. I'm recovering for the rest of the
pretty much. That's what she said. Trip over.
I mean, it was nice being there with you, but it just changed. I was injured, and it was a pretty serious injury. So
it was, yeah.
And I was a little freaked out. So,
and then I caught Montezuma's revenge.
Bro, come on now. You should know you don't drink the water in third world countries.
Water. I don't know how they got me. They slipped me in
Shower water still works. The brushing your teeth is the same thing.
Bottled water for the toothbrushes, everything. I don't know.
Oh man, bro.
I used to drink
that was a fun trip because when he was vomiting, I was hopping on one foot to bring him the basket because he couldn't get out of bed to make it to the toilet. It was crazy.
It was both.
It makes for a good story, though.
Yeah, it definitely was a great story that I can tell over and over and laugh about.
You guys can write a movie about that trip. Like it'd be a whole screenplay.
So we did the do-over.
We did.
Yeah, the do-over might have been the best trip.
Yeah.
It's a do-over. We get there. We had to rent a car because she's on a hiatus from school.
Until
further notice. So we rented a car, and that trip was amazing. We did a lot of things that we couldn't do the first time. And then you want to tell the rest of it?
You can tell the rest of it.
Okay. Well, we went to the ruins. What else did we do? We did a lot of things. It was pretty cool. But while we was out there, I also have a friend that's out there who is into fitness. So we are looking to like either open a gym or create some sort of fitness experience out there in Tulum as well. So that's one of the reasons why I went to the second time. So we call it Tulum 2.0. And being that 1.0 was so bad, I said to myself, how can I make this experience so much better and much more meaningful? So what I did was, we connected. The first time we was out there, I connected with some people. The second time we was out there with my friend, David West, former NBA player, because we was all looking to put this facility together. And we had what would you call it? A plant-based vegan experience, right? We shot a little video out there. So my guy, he flew out a vegan chef. We had rented out the restaurant. We just all had this experience so we can just video shoot and take the whole thing. And the food was so amazing. I caught a light bulb moment. I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna do it right here. So I set it up like a nice little situation at our hotel. We had we had a pool area, had rented out or made arrangements to get the little private area, the pool area, and I had it set up, candlelight dinner. I had the vegan chef come up, and they prepared like a little secretive dinner for her where I'm like taking her all around Tulum,
You did a good job.
So she don't know what's going on. And then at right before dessert come, I kind of proposed to her.
Kind of. Very much so good.
Oh, my man.
Oh, that's so romantic.
We married. So that's how that went down.
Tulum 2.0 was definitely a do-over.
Tulum 2.0 was a do-over. It was
so
definitely
good.
Yeah, and now we go to Tulum again in 2 weeks for the month. Because I got some more business I'm trying to tend to out there, and then we're looking to do our wedding in Tulum this August. So we got to keep you guys posted on that.
Okay. Oh man. Listen, you setting up a high bar for some of these fellas out here.
Who would have ever thought after the first Tulum that you would get engaged there the next time and then married there in the future?
Well,
that's so
did he at least let you get your nails done so that if you wanted to take pictures, but since he liked nails anyway, yours stayed done, right?
My nails were done pre-trip. But I was good. We were only there. We lasted.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Nice.
You couldn't blow the surprise,
Because I am nosy. And those were one of the three things I told him when we first met, that I am hypervigilant, empathic, and extremely nosy. So it's very, very hard to surprise me. And
are you surprised, Monica?
Completely surprised. And double surprised, because I feel like the dinner alone was a surprise.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, you did such a great job. This is amazing. And then at the end of the dinner, he starts rambling with his real surprise. And I was like, oh my gosh, what? Is this really happening?
Nice.
Yeah.
Aw. Oh, that's so sweet, you
That's
guys.
awesome. That's awesome. Now, so do you guys, prior to this or just in planning your trips, have you guys outside of your, 2-story foyer,
For you.
foyer, right? Have you guys put together like let's say a top 10 places or top 5 places y'all wanted to visit?
First, where have you been together? Just name a couple of places that you've
I
been
was about to say we want to go everywhere.
Yeah,
but-
we have a list of places that we want to go. I don't know if we have a top 5 or where have we been together?
We've been to Montreal. We've been to Seattle. We've been to Mexico. We've been to Orlando. We've been to DC counts, right? You count those?
It does.
DC,
Domestic travel.
Maryland. We've
Delaware.
been to Delaware. Where else have we been? We've been to Puerto Rico.
Nice.
We've been to, there's another country we've been to. I can't remember.
We were supposed to go places, but thanks to the
COVID.
pandemic, we
COVID.
Yeah.
canceled.
Yeah, that put a damper on a lot of people's trip. I know for me, that put a damper on my trips.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
That's
Okay, so some of the top places that you want to go together. What's on your travel list?
so she want to go to Seychelles. She always wanted that for her honeymoon. I'm down. I want to go there, but I want to go all over Africa. I actually want to hit every
You wanna
country
go to
in
Ghana?
Africa.
Which
Yes.
we're going to at the end of
So
the
we're
year.
going to Ghana,
Nice,
New Year,
nice.
Afrochella, and all of that. What else? We got DR lined up. We trying to get to Morocco, Marrakesh as well.
Of course.
What else? Do we have anything else already scheduled or lined up? We got DR scheduled. We got Tulum scheduled. We got Africa scheduled.
I think that's all we have scheduled
For this year.
Mm-hmm.
But where else would we like to go together? Gotta go to South Africa together. Gotta go to would love to go. I'm not too big on Europe. I'm good on Europe.
don't sleep on Europe. Europe got the food, man.
Not true. I've been to Europe.
You haven't been everywhere.
I've been to quite a few places. Rome has some good food, but
I really want to go to Portugal.
Yes.
Amazing
Steaks,
gorgeous.
amazing. Yep.
I know that he's not really interested in those trips, but we'll go.
He's gonna be like, who decided to go? Oh yeah, you decided.
I mean, it could be a stop on the way to Africa, and then everybody.
That's what we were supposed to do.
Yes.
In 2020, we were supposed to stop in Portugal and then continue on to Morocco, and that trip unfortunately got canceled.
Yeah, one of my other clients was getting married out there. So, and then pandemic happened and shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that being said, like you both have traveled individually, right? Like, have you experienced people's reaction to you traveling while Black? Because like we know being Black in America is sometimes a curse, right? Rarely a gift. But what has that experience been like for you internationally or just in your travels, domestically or internationally?
In my travels, being Black, you know what? It's interesting because I see the racism in certain places, right? I just recently went to Brazil and I see the racism and due to the colorism, of racism. So like the racism against the dark-skinned people out there versus the light-skinned people. And it's sad to me. It's sad. I see it in Africa as well. The Afrikaans versus, the other African folk. But I think that I personally don't have or experience the same type of racism. Simply being that I'm from America, because I'm from the States. I've seen it big time in Dubai, how they treat the Filipinos and the Africans in Dubai, which is horrible to me as well. But because I'm an American and I'm from New York, we don't get the same treatment. Or I haven't gotten the same treatment, So that stood out to me. And it's sad to see, that they got to go through that because I've seen quite almost, like even I've been to DR, and the brown skinned people in DR don't want to acknowledge that they're Black. They darker than me and they don't want to acknowledge that they're Black. Like for me, that is so whack. And it's sad to see, that everywhere around the world, pretty much, dark-skinned people, brown, black, and brown people. I consider myself brown, not black, actually. But brown people don't like they get treated unfairly all around the world. I haven't seen anywhere in the world where they necessarily get treated fairly. And the most love I have seen is in Africa, though. You know, the most love I've seen, I've been to 3 coasts in Africa: North Africa, East Africa, South Africa, and I never got any love nowhere else in the world that I've experienced in Africa like that. You know? Yeah. So
I would say I haven't necessarily experienced racism, or maybe it is in my other travels. No, maybe domestically, maybe going down south a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think what sticks out to me the most is a recent trip. Well, recent enough within the last like 3 years or 2 years or so. I was in DR, a place where I frequent often, being that I have, my roots are there. And we were staying at a resort in Punta Cana. And the staff at the resort were just awful to us. And we could see how they were like catering to the white and the Europeans that were there. And like wanted no parts of providing the same level of service for us, because I don't know if they consider us to be locals, because once they start talking to you, then they hear you speaking Dominican, I will say. So they're kind of they get it. They're like, oh, primo, okay. And it was one of my worst experiences ever. And it was crazy. I remember like my mom was there, and we were like, how is this happening in our country? Like, this is insane. Yeah, never again.
So let me ask you a follow-up to that. As a woman traveling, have you felt safer or less safer traveling internationally when you would travel by yourself or with other people?
I've never really experienced traveling by myself.
Okay.
I might like take a flight by myself, but I've never been 100% by myself in any destination. I'm too fearful of that.
Okay.
Even though, I want to, it's something that I want to do, but I'm a little bit of more of a worrywart now, and haven't had the balls to do it yet.
Yeah.
I think the most alone that I've been was, I think I went to Miami once by myself. But I have people there, I did stay to myself the entire time. But yeah, and I felt relatively safe. I didn't really venture out much. It was kind of like just some me time that I took, and I, went to the beach and maybe took a walk, and that was about it. So it didn't really feel too scary to me. Traveling internationally alone, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
You're not ready for that? You look, Hurricane Fitness is gonna have you in tip-top shape. We're gonna teach you some boxing moves, some self-defense moves.
He can't do that.
And we're gonna make sure everywhere you go, you find something to protect yourself with. You know what I'm saying?
But I get it, Monica. It's a different consideration when you're a woman and you're traveling by yourself, and so much more you have to think about in terms of safety and, keeping your head on a swivel, watching your back, people, you go to the car dealership and by yourself and you get treated differently. So imagine, traveling abroad and all that. I get it. I totally understand.
So have you guys seen a difference in the way people approach you or the way people see you both?
Or interact with you
together now, right? Because, Rodney, you this big, tall, light-skinned, brown man.
Right.
you this big, tall, brown man, right? And, before it would be that Karen walking across the street, right? But now you got Monica with you.
Yeah, Karen will see you and
she'll walk
like
right past
pearls and go across the street. But if you were a lady, maybe you experience things differently.
Have you guys seen that?
I think that is the case all around the world. Just being black, a black man in this world, Like, I don't like riding in a car with a bunch of black guys in New York City at all, you know, let alone any of these middle of America states, you know? So I definitely experience people a little bit more comfortable when I'm with a female. So Monica, when I'm with Monica, nobody really gives me a hard time. Nobody really thinks I'm too much of a threat. Unless I start opening my mouth and acting up, you know. Sometimes people need to get what they need to get. You know? It's hard to close my mouth when it's time to let it ring.
And so, Monica, New York is notorious for the cat calls. Certain countries around the world are notorious for the "hey, mommy," especially the DR, that they think you local, so they're gonna talk to you how they want to. But they see Hurricane come up behind you. Hurricane, say something if you want.
Look at how he went. Look how he went back in bodyguard mode. Like, I dare you. I
love that. I love having him as my companion everywhere. It doesn't matter. Like, if we step outside of the house, it's amazing to have him. It's such a sense of security. One being him being a man, and then on top of that, him being the man that he is, takes it to a whole nother level. Mm-hmm. So definitely, for sure, nobody bothers me.
It'd be funny though. It'd be funny.
They won't see the Hulk come out. That's why.
It'd be funny. Like, I see, like, it'd be moments where she may be by herself, like, say she on one side of the street or one side of the curb, and I'm not necessarily standing next to her. People be looking at her, or they be wanting to say something. I don't think I ever seen anybody say anything, but they be having it, like, they be fixing themselves.
You said something to somebody one time. You're like, "Nice, right? That's me."
My man.
But yeah, like, for the most part, yeah, people will look at her, they look at me and be like, "Nah, we're not gonna do this. We don't want that headache. You don't want that. You don't want that headache, brother."
Oh man. That's and that's interesting because you guys have lived through a pandemic, right, together, and that's pretty much made y'all stronger, right? That's probably why Tulum 2.0 was what Tulum 2.0 was, right? Because it could have been Tulum nothing after that. So you guys mentioned earlier that the pandemic kind of ruined some trips. How else has it affected your life? Not just how has it affected, how have you guys, we were all locked down, especially New York City, right? Mm-hmm. Restaurants on restrictions, leaving the houses on restrictions, the lines around the corner for all the supermarkets. Like, how have y'all transitioned from the lockdown to where we are today to kind of a new norm, right? With a new variant every day and still being able to, like, move around, right? Because and it's our current reality, right? Mm-hmm. We're dealing in a time where we're still in a pandemic, but we still have to live our lives. So how has your lives changed, right, to kind of a new normal now?
I'm gonna let you tackle this one.
I was hoping you would.
Well, Rodney, so we're gonna start with you, right? So, I'm assuming Hurricane Fitness had to go virtual at some point or another. Some adjustments had to happen.
What kind of adjustments?
What kind of adjustments did you have to make?
So we totally went virtual when the pandemic first hit. So for like the first maybe 3 to 6 months, we went completely virtual. I maybe had 3 clients coming in person. That's about it. And even then, that was a lot for Monica during that time because nobody knew what was going on. It was a lot, But me being like a health and fitness person, for me, being locked in the house, avoiding sunlight is not good. For me, being locked in the house is not healthy. They preach and take the jab. Well, prior to taking the jab, they preach and just avoid everything, but they wasn't preaching, exercise, eat right, build your immune system up, do the right things to actually be healthy, And for me, I thought it was a crock of shit from the beginning, to be honest, and I still do. I still think like that, even though it is real. But for the most part, what I see is they're not preaching what's the number one leading cause of death in this country, which is heart disease, right? They're not preaching that if you eat better, and you can avoid diabetes and high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all those things that create your high risk for the virus to be able to, take control of you. So people are quick. People want the easy way out, and I preach it's not about the easy way out. It's about doing lifestyle changes to really be healthy. Because the jab is a Band-Aid. Taking the vaccine is a Band-Aid, and it's not really gonna make you healthy if you're still gonna have the same poor habits. You're just gonna be susceptible to the next vaccine, to the next virus or the next thing that may come along that make you susceptible to it. So that's what I'm saying as far as that, and we definitely did pivot in the beginning, going virtual until we figured out what was going on, people's comfort level. And now, even this past winter, people's comfort level has gotten more fear risen, due to the marketing of COVID-19. But we are doing our best. So now we offer hybrid options. We definitely, enlisted COVID, protocols to make sure everybody is either vaxxed or we make sure they sanitize when they come in. We used to do thermal checks, but that's not necessarily, so accurate all the time. We limit class sizes now, so we don't have we discontinued the boxing express class that Jackie wants to keep going. But we offer a more private training, so we just trying to give each other, we'll give our clients their own private personal area and space to work in. Being that we are a small studio, a small facility, we are much more intimate. So it's not like a big box gym. We don't have as much high traffic coming in. So we definitely are able to operate. We've been operating entirely throughout the pandemic, and business actually has been gotten better for us because we are a small space and able to kind of pivot how we have. But yeah, so business has been good due to the pandemic. I don't see personally too much of a reason not to live your life. I kind of it was this joke. That I forgot where I heard it from, but it was something along the lines of like people are being fearful and not willing to travel, right? And like people like throughout the pandemic, a lot of relationships were in heavy distress. It was bringing a lot of things that people couldn't really take, and a lot of people were separating. And the joke went along something along the lines of like how the woman was so fearful, the girlfriend was so fearful of COVID, she wanted to just stay in and protect herself. And the boyfriend, he wanted to live his life, and they end up breaking up. And then she ended up seeing him on Instagram living his best life on a trip somewhere in the islands with his next girlfriend, while she's like mad. And like that's a reality for a lot of people. It's tearing a lot of people up. The divisiveness of it is like hard to deal with, because I think that people who are fearful and not able to live their life and and live how they want to live are the ones who are in a way kind of, I would say, jealous or envious of the ones who choose to live how they want to live, And I think it's just a choice for everybody. It's a personal choice for everybody. Nobody has a right to make the other person feel bad, to have any type of animosity towards them or any type of ill will towards them. But I think that I see that a lot happening. But for me, I look at life as life is short. I had a lot of family members die. I average 6 per year for the last 20 years. And for me, it's like, if I'm going to live my best life, and if I die, I'm going to die being happy, doing something I love and enjoying life. I'm not going to die regretting, I wish I did this, I should have did that. We all got to die sometimes. So for me, it's just how I go out. And I'm going out with a bang. I promise you that. Last year, I took 5 trips out of the country. We did, I think, 2 together. And I did 3 with like friends and family. I went to Jamaica, went to Mexico twice, went to Colombia, went to Brazil. You know, and I'm trying to do 3 to 5 trips every year for the rest of my life.
Listen, let us know when you go and we with you outside of April.
All right. Let's go. Let's put it together.
So Monica, what about you? Like, as a photographer, you know, there's no remote photography, right? Right. And then, but the thing is, there's a boatload of pandemic babies, right? So, I mean, it's a balancing act. It's like that break led to booming business. You know what I mean?
Right. At the time, I was working in production. So I was working at a large production studio.
Yeah.
And obviously was furloughed. And I loved the time being home. I love the time, you know, being able to be a mom, being more present, being a partner, you know, tightening up my domestic game at home. Was definitely fun. And I think we got to bond more, obviously being cooped up in the house together. And we did stuff though. We went hiking. We went to the park. We would go for drives upstate. We would go to the supermarket upstate rather than waiting on the line.
One of our trips was during that time. We drove to Orlando.
We drove
in Orlando.
We drove to Orlando.
She not about that life.
That drive was serious. I ain't about that life either. I ain't with it.
2 kids too. Oh wow.
With 2 kids, we drove. We split it up though, 2 days. We did 8 hours one day, 8 hours the next day, and it was a great family trip. We didn't do anything. We rented a house. The house had a pool, and you know, we cooked. The girls went swimming. We hung out. We watched movies. It was nice to have a change of scenery. But that time together for me, it was. I think for everyone, it was kind of interesting to navigate. Yeah. Because, you know, we all come with our own sets of ideas and fears or not fears, and trying to figure out how to coexist in a harmonious way was quite challenging. And I think it kind of laid the foundation for the success of our relationship. You know, once things started lightening up, I did get back into like working a little bit in production, but for the most part, I shifted 100% to shooting now. And I am too busy with these babies, let me tell you.
That's so good.
Listen, the pandemic babies ain't no joke, man. They built different and they're so cute.
They built different.
They're built different. They're a little, like, they're so cute, but they're a little crazy. Like, they fight back. They're like, no, I don't want to lay my head this way. They're picking their heads up. I'm like, you're 7 days old. What are you doing? Wow. But it has been amazing. It's been super fun. And I appreciate all of those couples being cooped up because business is booming. Yeah, it's been fun to get back in the swing of things, for sure.
Okay, so how has your trip planning changed, right? So if you were to give any new couple travelers tips, like what are some things that have changed from previous that you would tell them, all right, these 5 things I would recommend you do before you plan any trip?
Don't forget your mask.
I would say have a detailed conversation. Because as I mentioned, people are different. Everybody has their own idea of what's okay, what's not okay. And I think kind of coming up with almost like a script where you guys can be prepared for, you know, things that might happen. Or how you're going to approach, you know, what your COVID protocols might be. I think planning that stuff out ahead of time is definitely helpful because, you know, picture yourself finding yourself at the airport and, you know, something that one person doesn't agree on is, you know, you guys are faced with that. Having to deal with that in the moment kind of could sour things a little bit because even though we're traveling through this pandemic and stuff, it's still an exciting thing. You know, you're amped up, you're going, you're going to have a good time. So kind of ironing those things out ahead of time, I feel could be super, super helpful.
Between couples, you mean?
Yeah.
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 I agree. And I think also what would be helpful is really learning what countries' requirements, you know, like what requirements have for each country. It's super important because not all countries are as strict, but some are super strict, you know. Some require vaccinations with boosters by now. Some require just vaccinations. Some require just negative COVID-19 tests, you know. Some require them 3 days before or a day before, and knowing, you know, exactly what's those requirements. You know, like we just went to my last trip, went to Brazil, and my friend got the COVID test on a Friday. We flew out on I think a Monday, and we get to the airport, and at the airport they're like, "Listen, your COVID test is valid to fly out right now, but it's not valid when you land." So when he landed in Sao Paulo, it wouldn't have been valid, and then they wasn't going to let him get on the plane. He had to right then and there go get a test, and had to get it in enough time. It took 45 minutes for him to like return it, and he got it just in enough time for him to be able to get on the plane. It cost him $250 in the airport to get that COVID test, you know, because that's when they're going to get you in the airport. You know, that's when it costs. So yeah, just being aware of all of the requirements of, you know, what it entails, where you're going, paying attention to your documents. Same friend missed his flight on the way back, got stuck in Brazil, had to buy a whole new flight to Mexico to be able to get back home.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know Brazil changed their requirements coming in. I think was it New Year's around or right around that time, you needed to be vaccinated to come into the country or something like that. So I know people were doing a mad dash to get to Brazil before that law passed. So I can't imagine.
Because I think when we was out there, they changed it to where you only needed like a day or something. If you I don't know, you just needed, I'm not sure if he was vaccinated, you just needed a day notice or 1 day to have a negative COVID-19. If you wasn't, you need 3 days or something like that. I can't remember, but yeah, just being aware of all of that, you know.
Those are some great tips. I really appreciate y'all. So tell us again what y'all got going on so people know, one, what organizations, what businesses you guys got going on, and then two, how people can find y'all.
So once again, I'm Rodney Hurricane Carter. You can find me at hurricanefit.com. You can find me on Instagram at Hurricane Fitness NYC. Also Hurricane Hit HIIT is my personal Instagram page. And you can check me out if you want to book a session. Feel free, and we take good care of you. Like I said, we save lives one rep at a time.
That line. That's what got me.
It worked.
Yeah. Monica, V Photography is my website. V is spelled VIE, like life in French, because I like to capture life's moments. And my Instagram is Monica VIE photo _. I can also be reached on my cell phone, 917-564-9797. Do all kinds of portraits, so hit me up if you're interested.
You do events, you do weddings, you do all of that stuff too.
Thank you. Yeah. I do all of it.
Oh man, power couple right there.
You gotta promote her.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, it's coming all into one pot anyway, so they can travel the world.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's it. Where are we going next, huh?
Well, I definitely want to thank you both for doing the show. You guys gave us a lot of information. You guys opened the doors into your lives and how you guys met, how you guys started traveling, why y'all started traveling. Actually, I think we missed one thing. Like, what drives y'all to continue to travel? Like as an ending point, like what's the one thing that
is it culture? Is it food? Is it new experiences?
It's all of the above. But I think there's a quote that says, life is like a book, and if you don't travel, it's only on you're still on the first chapter. You know? So it's like, yeah, we got to create every life experience is a different chapter. Every travel, every destination is a different chapter of life. It exposes you to so much, and for me, it's a big motivator.
Yeah.
That's deep. That's deep. Life is like a book. Every destination, every trip is a chapter. That's awesome.
You don't go anywhere.
I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna steal that. It's not copyrighted yet.
I sent you actually.
You should Google it first just to make sure. Give it the right, reference.
But definitely,
I'm gonna give you one more. Because one more story I forgot to say. Right, it was about the I think it was racism against Americans. Right,
Yeah.
not necessarily because I was Black. Right, racism against Americans. This is a story. I was in South Africa. I went to South Africa by myself because all of my family and friends who were supposed to go with me flaked on me. It ended up turning out to be one of the best trips I ever had in my life. Right? So I'm out there. I meet these guys. One of them tells me he's like a filmmaker. The other one tells me he's into politics. Turns out these guys are like really into politics and like associated with President Zuma and all of that stuff, right? I'm hanging out with them. So the one guy comes to get me. We driving around Johannesburg. He has a Benz, like older Benz. He's letting me drive his Benz and whatnot around Johannesburg. We go pick up another friend. The other friend is from Congo, DRC, but he's in Johannesburg for this weekend to do some business. Now, this other friend grew up in the States, like for 25 years, went back to Congo because his father is the prime minister of DRC. And, he just said it was just more opportunity out there for him, right? So we in the car, we're driving around, we go to some bar, we leave the bar, police pull us over to extort us, right? Police pull us over to extort us. And the driver, my friend who, first friend, he gets out of the car and he starts spazzing on the police. So me and my guy, the guy from DRC is like, who grew up in the States, is like, whoa, bro, chill, please. Because you don't talk to police like that in the States, you know? So we like, yo, chill, it ain't that deep. It's all right. He's like, nah, fuck that. They disrespecting me. I'm a soldier, something like that. He was like, no, I got diplomats in the car. He goes to the trunk and he pulls out his big ass AK. What? His big ass gun. And I'm like, fuck, you had me driving around the car with that shit the whole time? And he's just going off on the police officer, letting them have it. They go off, they walk off somewhere, they talk. I don't know what happened. Me and the other guy in the back seat, it's like, what the fuck is going on? We hope we don't go to jail out here right now. Next thing you know, the police officer comes to the car. He's apologizing to us. I'm sorry, sir. You guys are good. You guys go ahead. No worries, no problem. And he let us go.
Wow.
That's crazy. All right.
That's how white people talk to police in the United States.
White people talk to,
That's crazy. Well,
so it's totally different. Yeah, life is totally different on the other side.
That was definitely an amazing story, and we're gonna end on that because Rodney's gonna kill us with another one, and we ain't ever gonna end this episode. But I do appreciate you both. I do appreciate you doing this, and once again, it was definitely my pleasure to have y'all both on.
Yes, thank you.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Yes, yeah.
Bro,
we got 3-4 months.
I'm working on it.
We got 95 days.
I'm working
on me already now. She be ready for it. Yes.
All right.
Show you what a true love's about. If it's real love that you want, I'll show you that and then some. So come on.